When you think of seeing animals in Vegas, you might think of greyhounds or horse racing, or if you're not the betting type, maybe a show with tigers. But it's not often you hear about a bull ring. Tonight, we say Olay as we get ready to watch round 10 of the Misfit Touring Series, and you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Jacob Reeves. Behind the scenes, our director, Christian, and he is using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. As I was alluding to here, Jacob, we are at the Bullring at Las Vegas. It's not the big 1.5 miler across the street. It is this tiny little facility.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, this place right here, it's crazy. I mean, they call it the Bullring for a reason. We've already seen a lot of guys out here, Joe, getting into it a little bit in practice. I mean, you look at it right there. This is completely flip-flop from what you would usually see at the at the mile and a half, or like you said, across the street. Look at where the front stretch is. Look how it looks. It's completely straight. The back stretch actually is like an oval, I guess you could say, like a tri-oval, like Vegas is. So this place is completely flip-flopped from the mile and a half racetrack.
It's also very short, and you can see it's got tight corners as well, so it's going to be an interesting one. But first, let's talk about the schedule that we have been on here at the Bullring at Las Vegas. Going to run 100 laps before we head off to Phoenix next time out, and that will be the end of our West Coast tour that we've been doing ever since we showed up at Irwindale back at the start of January. That's going to be a much longer track. In fact, might be the longest one they're going to be visiting at a mile in length, although I think Rockingham will beat it just slightly in terms of the length of the lap. Either way, love the variety that they definitely have in this schedule. But we were talking a little bit about the circuit. Why don't we head to Google Maps and Jacob take a little look at this tiny little strange tri-oval-ish thing, like you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's the craziest looking little racetrack that I've ever seen in my entire life, right here, smack dab in the middle of Sin City. And folks, I'm telling you, I mean, if you're out there in the Las Vegas area and you end up getting your tail kicked by the casinos, then you can come out here on a Saturday night and come out here and watch a short track race here at the Bull Ring. But there you see it. I mean, just right smack dab in the middle of the desert, as we did see, Las Vegas Motor Speedway just right across the street, as Joe was mentioning. But I mean, there you see it right there, where the start finish line is completely straight, and then all the way around to the back stretch. Like I said, it's got that oval, and then also where the pit road is, you'll see a lot of drivers. I mean, some may end up trying to go down pit road inside of the racetrack, but most of them is going to come off of turn number 1 and go down that ramp all the way right behind turn 1 and 2. That's usually where all the pits is, where all the haulers and all that good stuff is. That's usually where all that happens. But out here on the virtual sim, they actually have them right there on the front stretch.
Indeed. And with pit stops not usually being a thing, hopefully drivers won't have to visit down there too much. But of course, let's take a look at the car information as well. If you haven't been watching, 500 horsepower here in the late model stock that has been introduced recently. It's got 4 gears, of course, with front engine, rear wheel drive, like most oval stock cars. 3,100 pounds, so it's a heavy little beast. And then, of course, it does race in the Cars Late Model Stock Tour, both on iRacing and in real life. This was brought on by Dale Jr. with his involvement with that series. And then, of course, let's chat real quick about the format before we head off to qualifying here in just a moment. Jacob?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to have single car qualifying after they get done with all the practice laps and everything. Then we're going to have 10 lap heat races. Top 6 is going to advance. Then they're going to have a 15 lap last chance race. Top 6 will advance, but all the way to the end, I mean, I'm telling you, this feature is going to be an absolute blast. There you see it right there. I mean, it's going to be a blast to see it all right here on Podium Esports.
Love the format that they have in this one. And for that feature, I know we had said 100 laps earlier. I'm just double checking.
100 laps.
125 laps. So we've got three different information. The one I can tell you is for sure correct is the one I'm seeing now. 125. That's what's in the sim for the feature race. So we'll get it right eventually, and we'll be on our way in just a moment here with the qualifying. Of course, let's not forget about their wonderful sponsor, Spartamax. You can head to spartamax.net if you would like some firearms lubricant and need some for your collection. They have been very hopeful in getting this one off the ground. You can see practice just wrapping up, cars lined up, ready to go. They do 2 laps. They send them out one at a time, much like you'd see at a real short track. Just get those 2 quick laps to try and set their fastest time. And then that will grid them up at least for the heat race. Now, I don't believe we have enough cars to have a last chance qualifier. So the majority of these drivers will be gridded according to their time for the feature. And then the remainder at the lower end will go through the heat to determine the final starting position for the lower positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually, folks, this right here, I mean, honestly, you would sit here and think about it, screw it. It's just qualifying. You wouldn't really be worried about that. But you see some of the hardest driving in short track racing right here in this right here. I mean, this is exactly what you're going to see right here. These guys are going to straight up send it going into 1, going into 3, coming out of 4, back in, comes around a little bit. You're going to see guys getting loose, trying to get every little bit that they possibly can. And that's one thing I really, like you said, Joe, that's one thing I really love about this format, how they've got this thing set up is, like I said, single car qualifying, but everybody gets their own moment, I guess you could say, on the broadcast. But you really get to see what these guys are trying to do every little bit they can get to try to get that fast lap.
All right. So drivers will not have long to go around here. And it is 0.4 of a mile. Hopefully we can get race control. We've been trying to let them know the qualifying should be ready to go. There we go. Now they're finally getting the message that qualifying should be good, and we're ready to cover that one. But the 0.4 of a mile, that's the thing that intrigues me, is because we've been running at the half milers and things like that, stuff that's slightly more than half a mile in length. This one is so short out here. If they get any sort of green flag run, I wonder if it's not going to be long before they start catching the back of the field.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to end up being right there. You mentioned as small as this track is, but Joe, you know me. You know me 100%. Granted, we've called, 2 races this season. I've jumped on board kind of a little bit late, but you know me. I love to see a lot of beef. And usually that's what you get here at these smaller racetracks like the Bullring. So, usually that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up having guys catch other guys or obviously catch the lap cars. And usually that's when tempers start to flare. Somebody may not jump out of the way, try to let them go. And so, that's what's going to end up happening right here is when they catch the back end of the field, or we may end up seeing a little bit of beef out here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. And we saw a little bit brewing last time as well. The drivers obviously got a little bit tangled up with one another back at Kern at times, and it certainly caused some frustrations out there. It was a wild race, no doubt. Will we get more of the same on this one, especially with it being so flat and so bumpy? Thing that's going to be curious, of course, is those curbs to the inside as Jacob Alexander now takes off for his first flying lap here. He'll get the tires warmed up, tries to run out to the outside through 3 and 4 to square it off, and now he starts going.
Yeah, he's going to try to get those tires warmed up, slipping around just a little bit. Got to get them heat in them tires, as Joe mentioned. 0.4 of a mile right here. He's going to keep it all the way up against the wall, dive it straight down to the bottom of the racetrack, Here he goes at the line. Going to see what that first lap is. It's going to be a 16.594. And then that second lap, going to have it all the way down on the apron. Come out straight to the wall. Going to try to cut it as hard as he possibly can down on the bottom of the racetrack. Jacob Alexander coming off of turn 4. Will it be faster? Yes, it will. 14.530 for Jacob Alexander.
Nicely done. Okay, so who is going to manage to follow that one up? Unfortunately, I do see that Alex Hallinar looks like he may have set a time. And if you do that out of order, you're given an EOL. So, not sure if he was supposed to be out there while we were watching that lap. In the meantime, we now go to the number 2 car to see how they are doing. That is Michael Larch, who is already starting his next lap. It looks like he is on his way and all the way up to the outside of that back stretch, taking it down. We'll try and get you pictures here in just a moment. And he brings it down around to the outside. 14.465. That's going to immediately put him on the pole.
Wow, I mean, and done it right there, right off the bat. I mean, he didn't even try to take a second lap out of that bad boy. I mean, he just got it going. We'll see if he can actually better that time this time around. And it looks like he will not be able to by about 2/100ths of a second off, but still able to get it on that first lap. I'm sure right there that opened up the eyes out of everybody in the field to see that right there and think, well, you know what? Maybe we can get it on the first lap and not have to warm the tires up and try to get it on the second lap.
All right. So now it looks like Matthew Moniak going to be the next one who sends himself on out. He has got himself some markers to try and gather up here, with 2 drivers now having put themselves in the middle of the 14. So that gives us a feel of where everybody sits. Now, last week we saw drivers try to take it down close to that apron. Here, the apron, you're going to see that the drivers have curbs, little like sausage curbs in there, rumble strips, and they do not want to hit those. I have a feeling that's going to upset a few cars if they try to get it too low.
Yeah, and that's actually something, that the drivers out here on the track may end up trying to do to other guys if they try to send it in on the top side. There you see Moniak actually hitting a 14.600. That's actually going to put him third on the board for right now. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned it right there on those rumble strips. You saw Moniak trying to get around it, see if he actually gets a little bit better this time. And he does. It's a 582, but I mean, not enough to be able to get up there and get Larch in the 2 car. But like I was saying right there with those rumble strips, Joe, you may get some guys try to send it in on the top side and try to pinch them down. I mean, I don't even know how they could be able to do it. I mean, they can do it, I'm sure, but it would be crazy to see them try to pinch them down on the rumble strips. And like you said, you don't want to be down there hitting them suckers, because what it's going to do is going to end up jacking the left front of the car up. And then at that point, you're just along for the ride. At that point, all hell ends up breaking loose.
Looks like Justin Rideout may have already qualified as well, interestingly. And now they've got Ed Papineau in the number 10 already out there. Although I'm showing him with a furled black flag, which might mean an unsafe pit exit. If that's the case, I'm not sure if his qualifying laps will count. No, it does not. So if he keeps going like this, he's not going to have any qualifying time.
I'm telling you, that's something you don't want. I mean, you really don't want that. Not on a 4/10 of a mile track. But you got to go. It kind of sucks because you can't really pull back down pit road. You just got to go out there and do what you got to do. But I'm sure Kyle Adams, the owner, of the league, I'm sure he's already talked to everybody about it in the drivers' meeting, to be able to make sure that you get down and make sure that you get out of the pits right. I'm sure, they've already talked about all that stuff. And maybe he just slipped just a little bit and slid up, above, the line trying to come out. And but unfortunately, no time for Ed Papineau right here, and it's like he may end up starting at the back if everybody else is able to get out of the pits cleanly and everything works out for them.
Looks like Connor Jones is not here to qualify, so they're skipping over him. Deegan Smith going to be the next one out. Still, our marker is a 14.465, and Michael Larch is still your quickest. Deegan Smith comes around, starts his first flying lap, definitely brings it down close to that white line at the apron. And he's actually going to go high on this first lap. So he's going to maybe try and go for that second lap being his best one. Wasn't quite happy with that first one, I'm sure. 15.3, yeah, that was a slow first lap. Here we go, Jacob. What's the second one going to hold?
We're going to see what he's got right here. Gets all the way down to the bottom of the track. Deegan Smith coming off of turn number 4. Is it going to be fast enough? We'll see. 14.317. Got that bad boy into the 14.3s. How about Deegan Smith? All the way to the top knocks Michael Larch off of the pole. Deegan Smith's got it right now.
Wow. So that is a bigger margin than we're used to seeing in qualifying. That is more than a tenth above everybody else and on one of the shortest tracks that we run. So Wangsness is up next in that number 17. You can see him heading out here under the morning light and getting ready to go. In fact, with it being morning, kind of curious. Yeah, that's what I thought. With it being the desert, it's the morning, so it's a little bit cooler than is typical out here. Only 74 Fahrenheit on the track surface. You definitely don't want to be racing midday at a track like this.
Nah, you really don't. I mean, and, obviously out in the desert, it's going to be really hot out there, out here, obviously. Even in January, believe it or not. Yeah, it's going to be hot. I mean, it's hot in the desert all the time. I mean, that's why you want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of fluids when you're out there. But, yeah, you want to be doing it in the early portions where the track is not as hot as all get out. And you're not be slipping and sliding all over the place like you're at a damn dirt track. So, I mean, that's when you really want to be running this place, is in the earlier times. And looks like Terry Wagness, he actually may have screwed up a little bit coming out of the pits as well. He didn't get to put down a time neither, just like Ed Papineau did earlier.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So not sure if there might be an iRacing glitch or something that we're just simply not aware of. I have to be honest, this is not a track I see as often, so maybe it's been kind of hiding. Nobody's been reporting it yet. Evan Leahy, in the meantime, is out. And let's see, he does not have a black flag next to him, so I know he is safe. That is good. I'm going to start checking that each time, just in case, to see if a driver has that next to his name. Thankfully, we can see that in the iRacing software if someone has that sort of penalty hanging over them. A 15.3, though, is not a quick first lap, but we have seen a few drivers try and make this second one their money lap. 15.1, not much of an improvement. Evan's going to stay in 7th.
Wow, I mean, he didn't really pick up at all, honestly. I mean, maybe picked up about 2/10 right there. But that was just about it right there. And Evan actually looks like he's maybe going around for maybe a third lap right here. Huh. He's going to hit a 14.9. So, wow, they may end up having something going on right here, Joe. I mean, they may end up running 3 laps instead of 2.
Yeah, very strange. Not sure if that was he was told he was supposed to do that, or if that might net him a penalty as well later. Kendall Becker is the next one up here that you see in the red and black. So... And, I think we're getting some word. So it sounds like maybe the qualifying scrutiny settings maybe set a little strict. Now, what this is in iRacing is the people who set up the sessions in iRacing can set the scrutiny to certain levels so that drivers can't try to game certain aspects, such as tire cooling or tire heating, things that are not fully realistic yet. And one of those is if you go slow on a lap, and the sim will watch for that and automatically punish people who aren't going fast enough. So we think that maybe it sounds like some drivers are falling afoul of that. Kendall Becker, though, thankfully, is having his laps count, and he's also taking 3 laps, so I guess this is starting to become a bit of a standard. And for him, it's looking very good, because his quickest was his last at a 14.520.
Yeah, very, very good right there for Kendall Becker. I mean, he's going to get it right there, pretty much sitting in the 4th spot as of right now. And we'll see if he's able to hold on to that. We still got a long way to go here in qualifying, as the next one coming out right here is going to be Gagliano. I'm sure I'm probably
Gagliano.
Gagliano. Appreciate you, Joe, on that one right there. Here, but Dean's coming off right here. Got the 23, got it all the way up against the wall. Going to come down to the bottom of the racetrack. We're going to see what kind of lap he's got. Gets a little bit sideways off of 4, able to keep it straight. No lap right here. Did not get a lap time right here, so maybe that scrutiny's starting to come back on Dean right here.
This one isn't scrutiny. I can see what's going on this one. Oh, as he slaps the wall. What happens is if your pit is behind the start-finish line, you can go across the lap potentially, or if you exit and then tote back to your pits, it will sometimes count that as a lap. So I think he must have towed back to his pit stall one too many times here, because it counted his laps already, and all of them are deleted essentially because they weren't laps. So he didn't have any laps to set, unfortunately, and he'll have to start from the back. Kyle Adams, the next one in the 24, thankfully has his lap still.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, this is a tricky little sucker. I mean, heck, it's tricky for us up here in the booth calling all this. But check out the paint scheme right here on Kyle Adams. Basically throwing it back to the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports car, Jeff Gordon. How about this right here? The same font, basically the same color of what it was back when Jeff Gordon ran at about the 2015-2014 era Drive for Hunger car. That's what exactly looks like right here. Kyle ends up coming off of turn 4, gets a 14.5. 2-1, almost ends up beating out Kendall Becker, but he's going to go for this next lap. We're going to see what he gets. Sends it down to the bottom, gets really close to the rumble strips, comes off 4, almost hits the wall, and wow, Adams is going to pick up about a 10th, but it was enough to get him all the way up to second, right behind Deegan Smith.
Yeah, so that puts him closer to Deegan Smith, but it's still an impressive margin for the 15, having managed to get down to that 14.3. Nobody else has reached that mark. Keegan Bush here in the number 27 is already out and rolling now. This is his first lap. If he's going to go down low on the first one, we know he's going to try for it. And yes, he is. We've seen a few drivers try and run up high there through 3 and 4 because they're not happy with how the first lap is going. 14.6. That's going to be good enough for 8th place. A little farther down. Let's see what the others look like.
Yeah, we'll see what he gets right here. Comes off a 4. Looking pretty good right here on this lap right here. We'll see if Keegan's able to get a little bit better. It looks like, no, he's not going to be able to get much better. He's just going to keep it right there at a 14.6. Probably smacked the wall. He didn't get anything on that last lap. Here he comes around. Final time. Hits the line and really picked up maybe about 3/100ths of a second at a 14.629.
All right, he'll still stay in 8th. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough of improvement to get him better position. Jared Schell is next in the 34, and he's just getting warmed up. He'll cross the line and trigger the laser here and start it off. So around he goes on lap 1. Still a 14.318. Deegan Smith is your current pole sitter. Well, he's their fastest driver. They will have a regrid for the feature, so he won't necessarily be on the pole. But having that fastest time will certainly guarantee you, or well, not guarantee you, but make it less likely that you will have to try and take part in the heat race to set your grid. Across a 14.661. Jared's still only sitting in 10th, so struggling a little bit with this qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of drivers out here struggling. It's like we said, the only driver that really wasn't struggling was Deegan Smith. I mean, he's the only one to go out there and hit a 3. Jared actually picks up just a little bit right there, 14.546. So he gets a little bit of extra time right there, bumps him up from 10th up to 7th. And now we're going to see the number 35 coming out on the racetrack. As Tanner Burge coming out here. Let's go see what he can get right here. Sends it down into turn 1. See if he can keep that bad boy down on the bottom of the racetrack. Maybe not try to slide up, as he looks pretty good right now for starting out here for his qualifying.
All right. First time across, 14.9. That's not going to impress. It'll put him in 11th place. Shell managed to get himself up to 7th on his last time around, so maybe we'll see Tanner kind of gradually improve as well. Second time, not gradually, a lot. That's 14.301. That is your new pole time for the number 35, and he still has a lap left.
Wow, yeah, at this point right here, I would have just go ahead and just pull it right on into the pits. How about that right there? Shock Deegan Smith. I bet you right now he's got his hand over his eyes thinking, damn, what could have happened right there? But Tanner Burge ends up getting the pole, ends up sneaking it out by 1/100th of a second. Right now, the man here, the fastest one at the Bullring, Tanner Burge in the number 35.
All right, so Tanner and Deegan so far are kind of showing as our drivers to watch out for today. If they can keep up that pace race-wise, we've seen some are better qualifiers than racers. Michael Weissman, will he be one of those today? He's come off of a win this season recently. And as he crosses the line, first lap going to be a 14.326. Yeah, he's going to be fast today.
Golly bum, how about that right there? Michael Wiseman coming out right off the bat and coming out and putting down the third fastest time that we've seen here so far. The next time around, it's still the third fastest time. It's a 14.339, but he's got to try to find just a little bit. He's got to find about 3/100ths right here coming off of turn 4. Is it going to be enough? Michael Wiseman comes off the corner and slips by just about 2/100ths from the last lap. But I mean, that's honestly about the best 3-lap average I've seen so far right here, Joe.
Just astonishingly consistent. I am massively impressed with how he ran those 3 laps. Watch out for him in the race too, because I guess he does have the consistency. Jake Grout in that number 49 is already on the track. So now we're starting to see things pick up a little bit here. Some of the drivers really finding their way around this place in a 15.2. Well, that's back to what we were seeing before with some of the drivers that were having a rougher time. Maybe Grout can find something on the second lap as he takes it out of 3 and 4. You can see how tight these corners are. And it's a 14.336. Yes, that is massively better. And he's going to bump Kyle Adams out of the second row.
I'm telling you right now, he almost ended up losing the whole time because he almost smacked the fence and at the same time got completely sideways coming out of 4. But, I mean, hey, if you're going to end up putting down the lap time and driving it like a dirt car, I mean, hell, make it count. And he ended up making it count. Good run right there for the number 49 of Jake Grout. Now we're going to bring up the number 56 of Ryan Wilson. He's going to come up here. And in practice, folks, he hit a 14.4. So he's going to have to try to pick something up right here. Maybe try to get a little bit of extra speed. He's got to pick up about a 10th, or actually almost 2 tenths, actually, to try to knock Tanner Burge off of that pole. Wilson just sends it down the backstretch into turn number 3. Got it down on the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see what this first lap ends up being for Ryan Wilson. Hits the line. And no time this time for Ryan Wilson. We'll see if he's able to get a time this next lap.
He's got a black flag. He's not going to have this lap either, unfortunately. And, you know, well, since he's carrying on, that's it. Yeah, all 3 laps are going to be deleted for him. So Ryan Wilson will start from the back. Now, we were talking about how they're going to be sending drivers to the feature. It is 12 drivers who will go to the feature automatically here. And then the top 4 of those 12 are going to be inverted in that feature. So as it sits, Jake Grout actually would be our pole sitter. But your goal is to try and be in those top 12. If you are, you can sit back and enjoy the heat race and know that you'll at least be in the top half-ish of the field.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what you really want to be. I mean, you know, it's like we talked about. A lot of these guys out here, you know, getting the black flags and everything else in qualifying, in my eyes, it's just, it's just, they're screwing themselves, honestly. I mean, just like we talked about, this is a very, very small technical racetrack that is a pain in the tail if you look at it. I mean, like we talked about earlier, folks, it's damn near flip-flopped from what you would see on a regular mile-and-a-half racetrack. But that's something you really don't want to do, is end up starting at the back. And right now, you know, we got Dylan Calabrao is up here with them. So we'll see if he's able to get a little faster. How about this right here? 14.286. Got the pole pole. How about that? I completely just lost it there for a second. He ends up just getting me speechless. He goes out there and knocks it all the way down and gets the damn pole, Joe. How about that?
Wow. I mean, after the 15-7 first lap, I thought that we wouldn't really see a whole lot out of him, but apparently the 71 has got a hooked up car. Only driver to hit it, 15-2 so far in this qualifying session. After that, it's going to be Tyler Mueller and Jake Sylvia. And Jake's going to be interesting because he has been partaking in the roadside over today, as a lot of drivers are. It is the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours. Now, if you're an Oval fan and you don't know what that is, you need to go check it out because it's honestly awesome. But a 24-hour race at Daytona's road course and 3 classes of sports cars all competing at the same time. You run with a team, you trade out with your friends, and Jake is doing that. He is on a break, but he is obviously still having to race, so he's going to be a bit tired here. Tyler, he's not tired. He is up to 3rd with his second lap, a 14.305.
How about that right there? Tyler Mueller up here trying to see if he gets something going, gets up into the fence, gets a little loose, comes down, ends up hitting the inside wall, but it doesn't really matter at that point. I mean, sitting 3rd on the board, that's still got to be good for Tyler Mueller, but we're going to see what Jake Sylvia is going to end up having right here when he comes out, because it's like you said, that Daytona 24. And Joe, to be honest with you and folks out there, there's no way that I could do it. I mean, hell, I would run out of beer by the time I would get through it. There's no way I would run anything like that. I just don't have the time, patience, and I'm not worth a flip at a road course. I'll just be honest with you. I mean, you know, we ain't got enough beer, and I'm not good at a road course, so that's why I'm not even going to try it.
It's honestly some of the most fun that you can have. It's exhausting, but afterwards you always are just thinking, when's the next one? Sylvia's out there. Let's see what the first lap looks like. He runs a little higher, so I think this is not going to be a competitive lap. Yeah, 15.7. Now we know he knows how to be fast, so we're expecting more out of him on the second one. Watch him go to the bottom through 3 and 4. He keeps it nice and tidy. Maybe could have been a little bit tighter down there, but it's still good. 14.399. That's going to be good enough for 7th place.
Yep, and he's going to come around and get one more shot at it. See if he can try to knock Dylan Calabra off the pole. Sylvia sends it off of turn number 4, hits the line, 14.406. So Jake Sylvia not going to be on the pole for this one. He will start 7th when it comes to the feature.
I think he should still be in a good spot as long as he's got the pace and can avoid some of the problems of beginning from the mid-pack, at least. That is the last of qualifying. Looks like everybody has set a time, so we'll wait for them to send this over to the next session here. But the Bullring at Las Vegas, definitely one of the neater little additions to the sim. I honestly always love, because I know some people will complain that want the big Formula One tracks and all the huge names in here. But when you get the local tracks, those are the ones that, even if it's on the roadside, the club tracks and things like that, Jacob, I feel like they're so much more fun because there's always character to them. They're not as familiar as some of these big tracks that we've seen, that we've raced in other sims, and it's places like this that really bring a smile to my face.
Absolutely. I mean, and being a small town boy, from North Georgia, I mean, I'm all for the local short tracks. And folks, I mean, if you're watching this and you can hear the sound of my voice, go to your local short track. Go and support them. Go support everything that they do, because I mean, the local short tracks, they are the backbone of racing. I mean, they are what everything gets fired up and everything else as far as racing goes. So I mean, everybody go out, 100% support your local short track, because I mean, I mean, those guys, I mean, honestly, Joe, I mean, those guys, the guys on the short track, they basically work a 40-hour week job, and then they go out there on Saturday night and they bust their ass and go out there and race. So I mean, that's the kind of racing that I love, and that's the kind of racing that I support.
Like all cultures, it is the grassroots that props it all up. So, yeah, I agree. Support your local track. And Jared Shell, as you can see now gridded up, is going to be on our pole for this heat race. Remember, this is to set the grid for the feature, as everyone should advance through. Matthew Moniak is going to be on his outside. Then you've got Keegan Bush starting in third position. Alex Hallinar will start fourth, as Evan Leahy will be in fifth. And it's Connor Jones starting P6. Ed Papineau will be seventh, and Ryan Wilson in eighth. Dean Gagliano starts ninth today. Terry Wangsness will round out the fifth row with Jacob Reeves at the back of the field. Don't see him gridded up, though. Jacob, you made the cardinal sin.
Yeah. I kind of messed up a little bit on that one. Tried to jump into the lobby just a little bit too quick. And, came in just a little bit too late, tried to jump in here and ended up hitting the wrong button. But, hey, I mean, I'm here nonetheless.
All right. So I need to pay closer attention reading those names sometimes. Jared Shell ready to go. We'll get 2 pace laps, then they will be released and on their way for this heat race. It's only 10 laps. This will go quickly. So to get a better starting position, you're going to have to make spots up fast. We'll see if anybody is willing to try and risk it. Obviously, you'll get a new car for that feature race, so you don't have to worry about that damage carrying over. But of course, you're going to have to race those same guys. So if you make any moves that are too aggressive, they're going to remember when we get to the full race. Pace car is in. 34 now waiting for the signal from the flag stand as Jared Shell will start from the top here in the heat race. Green flag is out. Not the best to start for him, but the 3 of Moniak coming around the outside gets turned immediately.
Wow, but no caution yet as Moniak's going to get sent straight to the back. And how about Keegan Bush? He's going to be able to benefit from the contact going into turn 1. Keegan Bush all the way to the lead, and he's going to send it in as Evan Lee, who's also back there. He's getting a little bit of help from Jared Shell. And to be honest with you, if I'm Evan, I'm moving out of the way because I've already seen exactly what happened between Shell and Moniak. I'd be moving out of the way. I don't want to get wrecked at this point.
You are but an inconvenience in the way of what his real mission is now. They are side by side, though, for second as Jared manages to get through, but a cut back from Evan Leahy puts him back underneath down into turn 1. Not sure if he's got enough overlap. Keegan Bush, in the meantime, look at that 27, absolutely running away.
Yeah, he is absolutely gone, but now Shell almost gets a back bumper full of Evan Lee. Right behind him, you got Alex Hallinar right behind him in the 157. He's trying to get something going. Moniak may end up trying to get back to Shell, maybe give him a little bit of payback possibly. But how about Ed Papineau? Did not get a time and qualified. Here he is up here running inside the top 5. And then right behind him, Dean Gagliano back there behind him as well. All these guys trying to find their groove, trying to be able to find themselves and try to get up here. Now the 157 goes around, Moniak goes around, all of them going around. Caution on the speedway as we got a parking lot in turn 4.
Oh, that was just unfortunately a checkup by the 3 of Moniak as he went into turn 3. The 57 of Hallinar, I think, slowed down and chopped down quicker than he thought. And when he backed that up, Ed Papineau got into him. Gagliano got involved. Did Wilson get around? Yeah, man. If we get a replay of this, Wilson in the 56 did an amazing job avoiding.
Wow, I'm telling you, I mean, folks, and that right there is what you're going to end up seeing probably all night long is just little bitty stack-ups that end up, having this whole problem right here. But, I mean, Wilson, what a fantastic job. There you see the contact right there. This was at the start of the race. This is when Shell got into Moniak. It ends up sending him up the racetrack. But over, when they went into the turn, I'm telling you, it was just a straight-up sand right there. A little bit of checkup behind it. But, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm looking right here at what happened with Ryan Wilson. He went all the way to the top. Yeah, there was a stack up, but Wilson missed every bit of it, took it all the way to the top side and ended up getting around it.
Here we go. Here's the incident that brought out the yellow. Yeah, there's the big checkup, and in fact, I think he locked the brake up slightly. He was on it so hard, not something you do that often. It's usually brushing these things, and he gets lifted off the ground. Really has no control at that stage, and also you saw that 56, as I mentioned, being able to escape. Now this one's going to be fascinating. I don't think I've ever seen this before. We've got a green-white checkers on a heat race.
Oh man, only only in iRacing, Joe. Only in iRacing would you see something like this. I've never seen it. Personally, I've never went to a race and seen it happen in a heat race where where you have a green white checker. But here's the funny thing: they got 3 attempts at it, just like it would be in the regular race. So I mean, these guys know, kind of what's up for grabs. I mean, to try to get yourself to the front as best as you possibly can to try to maximize the effort, to be at the end, to try to win the race. And that's all the way, for later in the feature. But it starts right here. Try to get as close as you can to the front. We may see some seriously aggressive racing going on up here at the front because Shell, we've already seen what happened between him and Pontiac. He's got Keegan Bush right beside him. If Bush can check out right here like he did before we end up having this caution, Bush is going to have this thing in the bag. But I'm sure he's sitting there thinking that Shell's up there on that outside. He may be thinking, oh, hell, I already saw what happened. I hope I'm not the beneficiary of it this time.
And looks like they put the 3 at the back of the field. They got an EOL for causing the yellow flag. As we get ready to take the restart, can they manage to do this on the first try? Green flag is out. Decent start for Bush, but Shell is also on top of things. He's still around the outside, all the way down to the rumble strips. The 27 is able to go over them without spinning the car, and he's going to take the lead fully. They come to the white flag. Looks like they are going to be able to do just one green-white checkers for this heat race, and it is official from here. It's very easily the lead for Keegan Bush on the final run around. Shell has no answer for him. He may have been handed it early, but he's going to win the heat through his own efforts at the end for the 27.
How about that? Keegan Bush started third here in the heat, and he's going to end up winning it. And that's going to put him in a pretty good spot right here, getting ready to go into the feature. But we're getting them lined up, Joe. Now we're ready for the 125-lap feature here at the Bullring.
We absolutely are. So your starting order sees Deegan Smith regridded onto the pole with Tyler Mueller starting in second. Tanner Burge will be P3, and Dylan Calabro, who has the fastest time, is regrid in fourth. He's going to have a difficult time probably making those passes, but I have to think the speed is there with what he showed. Jake Grout will start Weissman will start on the inside of row 3. On the outside will be Jake Grout there in 6th. Then Jake Sylvia will begin in 7th, and Kyle Adams in 8th. Michael Larch starts 9th today, and then the outside of row 10 will be Justin Rideout. What about the next few here, Jacob?
Yep, then we got Kendall Becker in 11th. Jacob Alexander will start in the 12th spot. That was the last drivers that was able to get a time and not have to get into the heat. And then you go all the way through the heat. Keegan Bush, who won that heat race, he will start 13th. Jared Shell will start 14th. Terry Wagnus will start 15th with Evan Lee in that 16th spot. Ryan Wilson, who was able to mess all that calamity over in turn 4, he's going to end up starting in the 17th spot. Dean Gagliano will end up starting in the 18th spot. Alex Hallinar will start 19th, and Ed Papineau will round out the top 20. The other 2 drivers in the field, Matthew Moniak, 21st, and Connor Jones starting in 22nd.
Looks like Connor's not gridded up, so it's going to be Moniak in 21st here today, getting ready for the start on this race, as the pace car should be peeling in this time by. Remember, this is going to be a long one, at least in terms of laps, but they go by quickly. 125 to complete here today. Will it be a clean one, or is the Bullring going to be a mess? As they come out of 3 and 4, Deegan Smith has control. Green flag is out. He's on the loud pedal, sending it down into turn 1. And they're going to give each other space compared to what we saw in that heat. I think they learned their lesson.
Yeah, I mean, and Mueller's going to end up backing away just a little bit. Deegan Smith's going to get a good jump and jump it right down in there. Here comes Tanner Barnes. He's trying to get something going, but Calabro is up here trying to get in that third spot. The fastest man that was in qualifying had to go all the way to the back, and we got a caution back into turn one.
Trying to see what may have caused that. Now, I'm curious. Oh, okay. I thought maybe it was for Kyle Adams who had to start from pit lane because of a disconnect, but it looks like this started down with a hit on the back of Jared Schell. I think he got a bump from the 18 of Leahy into turn 3, and so both of them went around.
Wow, and karma, to be honest with you, I mean, out of Shell, man, I got to call it like I see it, Joe. I mean, karma right there, you know, Shell ends up there, you see the contact right there, Lee ends up getting into Shell, sends him around. 17 right there, able to barely squeak by. That's Terry Wagness, almost gets into it big time. Moniak just had enough of it. He just slammed on the brakes and just stopped. And there you see Kyle Adams, who had to start from the pits. Probably not a bad idea for him to start from the pits because he probably would have been smack dab in the middle of that, Joe.
Well, like I said, he had a connection problem, so it wasn't intentional. But I mean, it worked out nicely because he came out on the lead lap, and the yellow came out pretty much immediately. So he now catches up to the back of them. The bad news is he loses his start position, so he's going to have to work hard to try and fight through everybody. Poor Gagliano in that incident. He was that number 23, the black car that ran into that wreck, pretty much T-boned the car. So I'm sure he got some damage out of that one. And Ed Papineau is in pit lane. Now, they cannot change tires in this series. So did he get involved in that accident? I didn't think so.
I believe he probably did because, I mean, it was back there in the back, you know, where all that kind of started and everything. So I'm thinking that's may have been what happened right there, you know, with Ed Papineau. I mean, he's starting to head off of pit road. We'll check and double check, make sure that maybe if he did or did not, I'm actually looking at it on the replay. And no, he didn't actually touch a thing. So I'm curious as to why he is going down pit road now.
Looks like they're giving the EOL to Evan Leahy. Now, if you cause too many of those cautions here in the feature, you can be parked for the night. So watch out for drivers that maybe get involved in more than one of these incidents and bring out the yellow flags to maybe be told to go sit down. I believe it's 3 times. So you get the end of line this first time, then you get a end of line penalty. End of line on the first one, then you get a stop and go on the second one, and then the third one, you're told to head home for the night. But they're double filed. They're ready to go, Jacob. So let's hope we get maybe a few more green flag laps.
Yeah, let's see what happens right here. Hopefully we get some green flag laps here in the feature right here. Mueller, he's going to be up on the top side. Deegan Smith's going to be down on the bottom. Calabro, who was the fastest, like I said, in qualifying, he's going to be third, and right beside him, Tanner Burge is green flag in the air. Deegan Smith's going to get a hellacious jump. Mueller's going to be in right behind him. Calabro's going to send it down on the bottom side, and Tanner Burge is going to have to fall in line. The side-by-side battle behind him is Wiseman and Grout, and now Grout stuck up on this top side as Wiseman trying to get clear. Grout gets into the fence, but he may have to end up backing away as here comes Jake Sylvia on that inside.
They're going to go single file for essentially the top 7 or 8. And then in the back of the pack, you can see still lots being sorted out between them. I can see Larch back there fighting with Rideout to try and sort out 8th position. But the front group seems content to try and cruise for a bit. They know there's many laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of time left in this race, obviously, folks. I mean, we're at lap 10 of 125, but a lot of these guys back here in the back are really duking it out back here. Larch back here with, Justin Rideout, one of the newer faces within the series. He's up here trying to roll this top side as much as he can. Larch trying to hold on to the bottom, and now Rideout able to get clear. Larch gets into Alexander, almost knocks him straight up into the wall, and all this going on right in front of Kendall Becker, Terry Wagness, and how about Alex Hellenar, 19th all the way up to 13th now. He's a man on a mission right now.
Wow. as a fast driver that wants to make up time quickly, clearly knows how to do it too, because we've been staying green. Nobody's been punted out of the way at this stage. You can still see them sorting that out. Keegan Bush, and as soon as I say that, the 57 gets absolutely turned. And there's the caution. The one that winds up facing backwards is Ryan Wilson.
Wow. I mean, and I was just fixing to say, I mean, like I was saying, Alex Hallinor was doing a fantastic job, started 19th all the way up to 12th at one point, and then ends up getting tagged in the back end. That was Terry Wagness in the 17 that ends up getting into him. And Wilson, he had nowhere to go. He's actually still parked on the apron. He actually ends up going ahead and towing straight to the pits. But I mean, that right there was going to happen because, Joe, they were so clustered up over there. I mean, all of them right there from about 9th to 10th on back. It was bound to happen with somebody end up hitting the brakes, somebody overdriving the car, getting into the back of somebody and end up spinning them around.
Here I was just saying he was making such good progress through, and Hallinar, the 57, was the one that was initially kind of turned sideways. The car got righted as he spun around, and Ryan Wilson wound up with the brunt of it, kind of piling in and then facing the wrong way. And as you said, he was watching drivers come up to him, but either couldn't get the car going or didn't feel safe trying to turn it around. So he's taken a tow and he's been sitting in pit lane. He's already 3 laps down from the leader. So I don't know if he's going to be able to come out and try to partake in the race. So he could get enough lucky dogs that he could get back onto it from here, but it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I mean it is, but honestly, we've seen, we've already had 2 cautions within the first 17, 15 laps, I should say. I mean, it's possible, if Wilson gets back out there, if he can hurry up and get the car crunked back up and get it back out there, that would be beneficial to him. But Joe, I mean, and folks, everybody at home, when you tow the car, you actually have to sit there for, maybe 2, 3 minutes, before you're able to actually gas up and carry on. You see, I already got a little bit of damage right there on the front end. So, that towing thing may be what's holding him up right now from gassing it up and taking off.
Yeah, it could be. And I guess we'll hopefully see him soon. But Terry Wangsness, I can report, did in fact get the EOL for causing that one. He did kind of put his hands up in the text chat, said that one was on me. So he knew right away that he had made an oops and accepted responsibility. And it looks like the race control agreed. So we'll regroup once more. Deegan Smith on the bottom in the 15. And then up on the high side, you've got, Tyler Mueller on the bottom side, rather, and Deegan Smith on the outside. Good jump there for Tyler Mueller. And, looks like the outside is not the place to be. Already losing second. Could lose more because Tanner Burge sneaks underneath. They've got Wiseman taking a poke.
Yeah, I mean, everybody trying to figure out their way, trying to jump down to this bottom side. But now Deegan Smith, he's going to be able to get down as we got a caution once again on the speedway.
See Kyle Adams around. I don't know who it started with, though. Checking, and Kyle, I think, is going to give a little bit of a hello to Keegan Bush, unfortunately, and that's going to kick off everything from there.
Ooh. Oh, my goodness. What a hit some of these guys ended up taking. 23, he ended up just driving straight into Kyle Adams. Adams gets into Bush. Adams ends up getting punted by the 23 of Gagliano. I mean, wow, but it's a huge stack up. One guy gets hit, then another guy gets hit, then another guy gets hit. I mean, it's just a chain reaction. You'll see it right there. I mean, there's Kyle Adams. Bush is up there in the pink and black car. Adams tags him. Here comes Gagliano. He tags him, jacks the whole back end up. Lee comes in, slams him. Hallinar gets slammed. Hell, everybody's getting slammed here at the Bullring.
I mean, you kind of have to expect that. It is called the Bullring. You're going to get thrown
Yeah.
around. And, well, it's living up to its name for sure. A lot of cautions here. It's going to be tight racing. Will we see drivers be able to keep their cool? And with it being such a short, small track, too, they don't have that high of speeds. So I don't know if we'll see many cars wind up out in terms of damage. I mean, we could see them sent home due to causing incidents, but we don't want to see that happen necessarily, nor do we want to see the damage. We want to see some green flag racing. And our driver who set one of the fastest times, or actually I think it was the fastest time, Calabro, sitting now in 5th position. Kind of interesting that he hasn't charged forward. Not sure if he's biding his time, Jacob, or if he doesn't have the pace to try and push up to the front.
Well, I'm sure he's got the pace. I mean, obviously he was the fastest car, in qualifying, but I think like you said, I think what he's doing just biding his time, just letting everybody go ahead and sort everything out. Because I've been watching these restarts. Mueller and Burge and Deegan Smith, all three of those guys, they have been hellacious on these restarts, much like Wiseman has. Wiseman's been sticking his nose in there too. So I think that's exactly, what Dylan Calabro is doing right now. He's just letting everybody kind of sort this out and just wanting to see what's going to happen right here, because eventually, I mean, all these wrecks end up happening at the back with the exception of the heat race. So, I mean, eventually this aggression, the intensity is going to pick up here at the front of the field. And I think that's where Dylan Calabro is going to end up, picking it off at that point.
So I can report for Ryan Wilson fans. He has been able to get back out on the track, but he's 6 laps down. He's going to need a lot of wave rounds to return to this one. Mueller's going to be sent to the back, and I think they have changed it to single file restarts here. So from what I could hear, we'll see if that is the case or not. Nope, they are going double. So they are not single file quite yet. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if they made that decision at some stage if we keep getting yellows like this.
Absolutely. I mean, and that will be up to race control whether or not they want to try to do that or not. So we'll see what ends up happening right here, but double filing it up. And Deegan Smith's going to be up on the top. Tanner Bird's going to be down on the bottom. Wiseman and Calabro back here as well. Green flag in the air. Very, very slow start. Nobody wanting to jump out and take off right there, but finally they do. Tanner Birds ends up getting away with a lead. Deegan Smith right behind him. Here comes Calabro up on the top side. Wiseman down on the bottom. They door bang a little bit. Calabro slams him. Wiseman has enough of him, slams him straight up into the fence. And Jake Sylvia is going to send it straight by him as now the 45 gets spun around in the back.
And once again, we get another pileup and another full course caution. So everybody slows up once again. I'm seeing a theme with these where it does seem to have that trickle-down effect that you mentioned. Especially if it starts up at the front. Drivers are trying their best not to make it a wreck, but everybody is checking up, and that's when people are offline. They're doing things they don't normally do, and unfortunately, I think just being out of rhythm has tripped up way too many drivers today.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't the 45. It was actually the 49. That was Jake Grout. He ends up getting slammed by Justin Rideout, and the whole damn field ends up piling in right there into turn one. There you see Gagliano, Lee, Hallinar trying to figure out a way to try to get around it. Adams just took it all the way to the top and shot it straight around him. Wow, I mean, a huge pileup over here that happened right before it was all the door banging going on right there at the front between Wiseman and Calabro. I mean, they were all over one another, sent him all the way down to the rumble strips. And Joe, that was something that I was talking about, was if the top side was going to end up pinching somebody down on those rumble strips. Well, Calabro ended up trying that. It almost ended up working up for him, but then I think Wiseman had enough of it and turned it straight right, sent him straight up into the wall. And then after that, everybody ends up stacking up. Grout ends up getting spun around along with a lot of other drivers.
Yeah, said, don't push me, I'll push back. And Justin Rideout, unfortunately, can't push back. He was given an EOL for causing this wreck, causing this caution period. So he'll go to the back. And I'm checking here. Tyler Mueller was given an EOL penalty, change of lane prior to start-finish line. Okay, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure if that was on the last restart or if he was given that during the last caution, but I'm just noticing that's not one that we see often. But the rules are important, all of them. You got to read the book and remember what they are. So Tyler apparently forgot that one, and he paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here watching it, actually. I mean, he was supposed to be starting on the bottom side, and he jumped all the way up to, I guess you could say, straddling the middle of the top and the bottom lane. So he was already wanting to commit to jump up to the top. So, yeah, I mean, you got to read the rule book, just like you said, Joe. I mean, every one of the drivers, they go through the drivers' meeting. Every single one of them knows the rules, and when you break the rules, race control's got to put the hammer down.
It's black and white, and they've caught you out, so you'll pay the price. Tanner Burge, still our leader here on the bottom. as Deegan Smith is going to try and steal it away. He's got a pretty good start here. Green flag is out and down into turn one. Highline still not coming in. Not enough racing to rubber that one up. Jake Sylvia, though, where did he come from? He's now suddenly in the fray, and he takes second.
Yeah, I mean, he started 7th, and now he's all the way up to 2nd. How about that? Jacob Alexander ended up smacking the fence back there as they hit the start-finish line. But Sylvia, he is not tired from what it looks like. Obviously, he looks like he's about to give out, obviously, from the camera angle that we're seeing right here. But he is mentally focused, trying to get up here, get this win here at the Bullring. He's focused thin right now, but he's got to watch his back bumper. Deegan Smith is back there as well. But Sylvia, I'm telling you, Tanner Burge, he better be watching his back bumper. Sylvia's coming.
I get the sense that that qualifying lap was because he didn't have the time to practice. He was so focused on the Daytona 24. And now we're seeing the race pace is there. It doesn't matter what his one-lap pace is. He knows how to wheel a car. But Tanner Burge does too. That 35 holds the track position. Haven't seen Jake get right up on his bumper quite yet. So we haven't seen if he's quicker than him or not. And if he wants to try and just spend a little bit more time behind. We're only on lap 39 out of 125.
Yeah, we got a long way to go like we was talking about, Joe. A long way to go here at the Bullring. And everybody may have already got all the kinks out of the way. Everybody looks like they are, I guess you could say, calm down for the point of this right here. But I'm telling you, Deegan Smith, he is not calm. He almost lost it coming off a 2 right in front of Calabro. These 4 drivers, they're actually starting to separate themselves just a little bit. Wiseman trying to jump up here with them. So really, it's a 5-horse race right now. Bird, Sylvia, Smith, Calabro, and Wiseman starting to separate themselves from Jake Grout, Jacob Alexander, Michael Larch, Tyler Mueller, and Keegan Bush.
About the most single file we've seen it for some time. But Burge still leading the way. Sylvia going to try and see if he can track him down. It's staying close behind Jake, too. Deegan Smith not letting him run off. And Calabro as well, who is in 4th. Still where he started this thing. Must like that spot. We'll see if he finishes there or if he's going to go for the win as they fly down into 3 and 4 once again. This really is almost other than the curved backstretch, it's kind of a paperclip layout, this track.
Yeah, I mean, it is very, very unique, as we was talking about earlier. I mean, very, very unique and very, very tough. And these guys, like I said, finally got all the kinks out of the way, but really starting to get spread out big time right here within the field. Wiseman, he's trying to see if he can close back up and try to make it that 5-horse race. As Grout has fell off big time, he's starting to fall into the clutches of Jacob Alexander and Michael Larch. Alexander all over the back bumper, trying to see if he can figure out which way he wants to go. Bottom top, caution out on the speedway. One guy was spun out in 2, but then backed out just quick enough before the leaders ended up just piling right into him.
That was Jared Schell in the 34 that brought that one out. Had a little help on it, but I think he probably would have at least spun on his own. I think his contact was with Ed Papineau in the end, but he was already starting to lose the car by the time he was spinning out. And yeah, he was waiting for the field to go by, and then by the time he wanted to get going, the leaders were coming back around again, like before, decided, all right, it's better to just tow the car.
I'm telling you, and I just sat there and watched that right there. I mean, Jake Sylvia, if you sit here and wait for just a second before he ends up backing out, watch him come off of turn 2 right here. Right before they get to him, look at Sylvia. Sylvia was already drifting up to the wall right there. Sylvia was very, very happy that he backed out when he did, because if he wouldn't have, Sylvia would have probably just drove straight through him. But I'm telling you, that could have been big time right there. Had he not backed out right there, Sylvia would have just claimed his clock right there.
Indeed. And I mean, that I think is a huge sign, Jacob, of the skill of these drivers up at the top. The heads up that they tend to show when these accidents happen, and the reaction times too. Pretty phenomenal, the way that they can be so aware of everything that's going on and be able to switch up that quickly and keep from getting into a wreck or making things worse. But there's a reason they're up at the front. And speaking of which, let's not forget about Wiseman back there in 5th. Also, kind of doing the same thing as Dylan. I mean, he's just been kind of waiting and watching. We haven't seen him in a lot of action. And he's exactly where he started.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Wiseman being very wise right now, just kind of just holding it down, just trying to hold on to what he's got. Bird, Sylvia, and Smith, they have not really broken away, from Dylan Calabro and Michael Wiseman and those guys. Those five guys, I mean, it's been a five-horse race from what I've seen. Grout was falling off big time. So Calabro, Wiseman, I think they're just holding their own right now, waiting to the end of this thing.
All right, restarting. Unfortunately, we've lost Jared Shell. His engine has expired from that big hit to the outside wall. Tanner Burge, though, still in it. Sylvia now starting next to him is quickly slotting in behind. He's going to look underneath, down into turn 3. Now is his chance on the restart. He's closed up, and he almost gets into the side of him. Burge is going to fight him.
Now, I'm telling you, Birds better figure out a way and better find some speed, because I'm telling you, Sylvia's coming. They make a little door banging contact coming off of turn number 2. Smith right behind him. Deegan Smith trying to poke his nose in there, see if he can get it going. Sylvia gets loose off of 4. Birds tries to pinch him down as hard as he possibly can, but Sylvia gonna be able to get clear, and now this may end up opening the door wide open for Deegan Smith. As here comes Smith down on the bottom. Sylvia is clear. Deegan Smith, and now Tanner Birds fighting hard for the second spot.
Goes from bad to worse for the number 35. Can't seem to hold them off. Deegan Smith, you're right, up into second. It looks like he is now clear. Can he hold on to Sylvia? The man who has been quite dominant this season. Hasn't been winning every single race, no, but every single race he is fast, as Tanner almost gets kind of slid up into the wall by Calabro there.
Yeah, Calabro almost slid him right up into the fence, and Wiseman, he may end up trying to slide him up into the fence. Check out Tyler Mueller. He's also back here. He wanted to try to dive it in there and find a way around Burge, but Burge was able to find the hole, slot it down straight in there, and then be able to put that block on it. So now Mueller, he's going to have to try to fight. He's going to have to try to see if he can get up under Burge and be able to get this bottom lane rocking. And I'll say this, Joe, like you were talking about with lap traffic, they are actually catching a lap car right now, which is Keegan Bush in the number 27. They are reeling him in big time. I'm telling you, there you see him just for a second up there in front of Jake Sylvia. It's going to get interesting right here when they catch this lap car.
Coming across the line, already up to lap 60 now of this race. I told you when they get going, these laps are going to fly. But Jake Sylvia is not running away at all. Deegan Smith is right on top of him. And in front, it is Keegan Bush, as you said. The lapped car could play a factor in this. So we thought that the lap traffic was potentially going to be an interesting aspect of this one. And already, just about halfway, we're discovering a car or two that can't quite keep up the pace. He's going to pull off to the bottom on the straight, but now he's on the racing line through the corners. Is he going to be able to get out of the way? He's not completely letting up. He's trying to hold off to the side as much as he can, but this is causing a headache for Sylvia.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to end up causing a stack up behind Sylvia right here. But finally, Sylvia ends up having enough of it, sends it straight to the top. Deegan Bush is going to try to follow him as well. This is going to get very interesting. Keegan slides up just a little bit. That stacks them all up. Now here comes Wiseman. He's going to take a shot at Calabro. They make contact at the front. Sylvia dove it in and shoved Bush up the fence. And now 3 wide with Bush, the lap car up on the top side. Here comes Michael Wiseman down on the bottom side going for second.
And I think Keegan may have had some bad blood there. That looked like he was trying to hold him up there, and it almost worked. Smith not able to overtake him, but it caused quite a bit of chaos here. And there's also a lot of chatter over the radio between the pair of them. I can't quite hear what's being said, but it does not sound pleasant.
No, I'm sure, and I bet you right now it's not PG at all, Joe. I promise you that's that. I mean, that's drivers for you right there. But now Smith, he's going to end up getting screwed out of this whole deal because he's still up on the top side. Wiseman's going to send it by him. Here comes Tyler Mueller. Mueller's going to send it in on the bottom side and try to get around Deegan Smith. Deegan Smith, who started this race after the invert, up in the pole position. And now Smith ends up getting the door from Mueller. Smith has to try to hang on to it. He's able to hang on to it as he's on the bottom of the track. He's still sideways coming off a 2.
Oh, those rears have got to be absolutely melted at this stage. He keeps sliding the car, and once again, he does off of turn 4. That opens the door for Dylan in the number 71 to try and take that spot away. He needs a caution to cool those things.
Yeah, he needs something, I'm telling you, because he is dropping like a rock right now. And here comes Tanner Burns. He's going to try to jump up here. Dives it in. Comes up. They make contact. Burns gets sideways. Smith almost gets up into the fence. All this going on right in front of Jacob Alexander up here in the 251. But Burns trying to get around Deegan Smith. Deegan Smith's not going away. He still wants to try to hold on for every little bit that he can. It's for a top five, and Smith goes straight up. And now he's going to lose it to Jacob Alexander. And here comes Michael Larch on the bottom.
Whew, good old hospital wobble for Deegan Smith. I don't know how he kept that thing out of the wall. It looks diabolical right now, and that sends him all the way to 8th. Incredibly, there's still cars that could overtake him, even though he has just been absolute freight trained on this latest stint. As this has been happening, it's Sylvia, Weissman, and Mueller, your top three. And in fact, there's not much between them right now.
No, I mean, Wiseman, honestly, when he made that shot to be able to try to get into this spot and get around, Deegan Smith, he was able to get down there and be able to keep pace with Jake Sylvia. So Sylvia's not checking out, like you said, Joe. And Mueller, he's back here. He's like a bad habit right now for Wiseman, just staying right on his back bumper. It's a 3-horse race right now. Calabro back there was the fastest, got the pole initially. He's going to have to find something to try to catch these guys, but he better watch his back bumper. Tanner Burns is back here, and now Mueller has enough of it. He's going to go for second.
Nice move by Tyler. Real textbook stuff to just sneak underneath, now into P2. But I'm seeing more and more cars start to slide around, and, well, the temperature, the thing about racing in the morning, it's going to go up. It is up to 87 Fahrenheit already, and we still got 50 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only going to get hotter, Joe. It's only going to get hotter. And that's when everybody's really going to be slipping and sliding like they're on a North Georgia dirt track. I mean, that's what they're going to end up doing. But I'm telling you, I mean, so far from what it's been looking like, Tyler Mueller, Jake Sylvia, they have been the drivers that's been able to hold the tires, be able to save the tires, and keep the car up under them. And they're actually catching some more lap traffic right now as you got Terry Wagness, and Ryan Wilson up here. Wilson just trying to see if he can get all the lucky dogs he can, try to get back in this race. Wilson up here with Wagness right in front of Sylvia and Mueller. They are catching him in a hurry. This may get interesting as they are too wide right in front of the leaders.
Uh-oh. So, okay, one of them is pulling off, though. The 17 of Wangsness is going to abandon that battle. Wilson also sees them approaching, trying to stay out of the way. He pulls all the way down to the apron. And I'm sure there are those that want him to talk to Keegan Bush for instructions on how to do that. But as they come down through 3 and 4, Tyler looks fast. Look at how much pressure he's putting on Jake. Do you think Jake's still saving tires at this stage?
I think he honestly is, but I mean, Tyler Miller, he doesn't really look like he's saving anything at this point. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Jake may end up be saving just a little bit of tires right now, to probably have something for later on, because it's like we said, this track's only going to get hotter. You want to try to have as much grip as you can for about that last 15 lap stint, because that's when it's really going to pay off. So I think Sylvia is saving some tire right now. He may end up letting Tyler Mueller go and letting Mueller go up there, burn his stuff up, and then Sylvia will try to run him down.
Ooh, there was a slap into the wall that we couldn't see from Michael Weissman behind them. He's starting to lose pace. These two have picked it up. I think the fact that Tyler is now starting to fill his mirrors, Jake maybe is turning up the wick.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's doing, because now he's actually starting to pick up a little bit of extra speed right now. And Mueller and Jake Sylvia, both of them literally the class of the field right now is Wiseman. He's actually fell back to a 2.5 seconds. Tanner Burge way back there, 2.5 seconds. And Dylan Calabro, who we thought was going to be one of the fastest drivers out here. He wasn't qualified, but now he's 3 seconds off of the pace right now. So, I mean, all those guys, I mean, I'm assuming that we got a wreck. Mueller gets into Sylvia. Sylvia turns him straight back. We got beef right here, Joe. We got beef.
Wow. This is going to reset things. But Tyler Mueller has got to have a target now. I am sure he is going to be looking. He's going to get it turned around, and the car isn't damaged. They just gently pushed him around. So he's going to have to fight his way back through the field. But if he reaches Jake Sylvia, oh, my goodness, he is going to be seeing red.
Oh my goodness, folks. We got beef at the Bullring here on Podium Esports. And there you see Bueller. I mean, he didn't really look like that he done it on purpose, but Sylvia, obviously, look, I mean, he was already turning left, son. He had already committed to go left and spin him straight around. I'm sure Sylvia was probably a little bit pissed off about how it all happened, but it is what it is. I mean, Mueller sends it in. Like I said, that's not intentional what Mueller did. Now, what Sylvia does right here, Joe, that is intentional as all get out right there.
I hate to make calls like that. We'll see if he tried to do it on purpose or not. Mueller actually heading into pit lane now. Usually we don't have. Oh, I am seeing tire set limit in race 2. So have they given them tires to actually change? Because a whole bunch of cars, including Mueller, is in. And I was kind of curious who they're going to give the end of line to on that one. There was the onboard. I just looked over. I didn't quite see what the wheel was doing. Was he looking like he was turning it left?
It looked like it. I mean, it honestly did. I mean, that right there, that's Mueller's wheel right there that you're seeing go to the left. If we could go back and watch Sylvia was trying to straighten the car out. But then by the time, I mean, he's already right there at his door. You see it. I mean, it's as far left as it could possibly be. I mean, that's what I'm seeing out of the whole deal right there. I think Sylvia ended up not real happy about getting tagged in the back end right there from Tyler Mueller. I think he sent him, honestly. I mean, Joe, I know you don't like to call it that way, but I mean, I've always been, call it like you see it. And I think, honestly, I think Sylvia sent him. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and call it like that.
You're the color. I'll let you take that. So, but yeah, interesting that I did watch. Drivers looks like they are actually allowed to take tires on this one, and many drivers did take tires, including Tyler Mueller out there. So he's on fresh rubber now, and back out on track. Sylvia gonna restart at the front. And they aren't happy with the lineup, so they're going to send them around one more lap before they get the green flag here. So, yes, we've got them double file, but they want to make sure everybody is stacked up nicely before they get that green flag. But this is going to be interesting. Jake Sylvia is on older tires. Now, we think he may have been trying to save a little bit there, but still, they're much, much older, so they can't be all that fresh. And Tyler, if he's as quick as he was in the first half of the race on that fresh rubber, is he going to be able to reach him quickly? And what is that going to look like?
It's going to look like crazy as all get out, honestly. I mean, yeah, I'm telling you right now, if Mueller is able to get back to Sylvia, it's like I said, all hell's going to end up breaking loose when he gets to him.
Okay, they extended it one more time, and they gave the EOL to Jake Sylvia. Now, he will not be with Tyler Mueller because Tyler is going to restart in the middle of the pack. In fact, around 9th place, it looks like. So he'll be ahead of him, but there's still a chance they could find one another. This does give a bit of advantage to Tyler if he's got the speed to try and catch back up. But Michael Weissman will restart as your leader.
I mean, that is awesome right there for Michael Wiseman. And Joe, if I'm not mistaken, he won last week. So, I mean, he's trying to go 2 for 2. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he did win. So, I mean, this is going to be big right here. I mean, all kinds of chaos happening here at the Bullring. I mean, Joe, we saw this coming, honestly. We thought it may end up being clean. It ain't clean by a mile at this point, and we still got 31 laps to go.
No, there's definitely a few gored matadors that are lying around, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. So Michael Weissman is going to try to emerge the victor. There is the green flag. He's on the throttle. He's going to have Tanner Burge with him, though. And we know Tanner is fast on a good day as well. He is now being challenged on the inside by Jacob Alexander, who kind of came out of nowhere, up 9 or 10 positions from the start. Look at Alexander. He's going to take second away.
Wow, started 12th and all the way up to 2nd. And how about Ed Papano? He started 20th. He's up to 5th after all this has been going on. But Alexander, like you said, where did he come from? He may end up having a shot at getting the win before this thing's all said and done. As Tanner Burge trying to hold on for everything he's got. He's been one of the fastest cars. But now Alexander has jumped up here. He may end up having something to say about this thing before it's all said and done.
At less than 30 to go, the laps are now dwindling down. Burge has control. We've gone mostly single file at the front, though you can see back there a little side by side between Papineau and Larch. Larch is going to be able to get him. Oh, and a little high, unfortunately, for Alexander. Opens the door for Calabro. Our driver, who was quickest in qualifying, suddenly finds himself in second.
And he is going to try to hold on as much as he can. Wiseman sends it in. Right behind him with Jacob Alexander, they door bang just a little bit. But Alexander may end up having to give away to the spot. And how about Deegan Smith? We talked about him earlier, about how he was sliding all over the place trying to just get grip in that number 15. Here he is. He finally got that caution that he needed to try to cool them tires down. He gets around Alexander, and he's going for Wiseman. As right behind him, Lawrence tried to send it in, and he's going to go around.
He spins to the inside, no caution. Hopefully he can get the car going. He does, so he should stay green. 23 laps to go now. Burge has an advantage of just a couple car lengths over Dillon. Can he hold that, or is Dillon quick enough that he's going to hunt him down and start to put him under pressure?
We're going to see what he's got right here. I mean, Dillon is really starting to put some laps down right there. Hit a 14.7 to Tanner Burgess 14.8. So he's about a 10th quicker. If he keeps on trying to get to him, he will get to him. Now, what's going to happen when he gets to him? Hell, at this point, we don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, with all the beef that's been going on, we don't know what's going to happen when he gets to him. But Dillon has been one of the fastest. Tanner's been one of the fastest. Both of them trying to match each other's times as Wiseman trying to hold on, and Alexander and Tyler Mueller on the fresh tires. Hello, Tyler Mueller, back up to the top 5.
Uh-oh, that's bad news for everybody in front of him, especially if those tires are good enough that he can start passing with ease, because if he reaches first place, then that could mean lights out for Burge to be able to take the victory today. In the meantime, as we watch the 51 bring it down and around the 251, really here, Jacob Alexander in 6th, now overtaken by Tyler Mueller. It could take some notes, although both of them going to brush the wall coming off of turn 4. Weissman going to get edged out of the way, and in front of them, pass as well as Deegan Smith overtakes Calabro.
Yeah, I mean, he just shot right around him. I think maybe Calabro may have just let Deegan go. But Mueller, I mean, Wiseman wasn't letting him go. Not by a long shot. Mueller sent it in there, doored him, and then took off. Mueller is a man on a mission right now, Joe. He wants to try to get back up there to Tanner Burge and take the lead of this race and get this win, because obviously he was fast before the caution come out. There's no denying that. He is one of the fastest cars out on the track. He is very slowly starting to reel in Tanner Burge.
Trying to see. No, he hasn't set his fastest lap in this stint, but you're right. He is putting in some very quick times. So that's all that matters, as long as you're quicker than everybody else. And Deegan Smith, now that he's got the 2nd place, he's looking forward at Tanner Burge, who is reaching the lap traffic of Michael Larch. Now, Michael's trying really hard to stay on the lead lap because we're at the end of the race. He wants to finish this with a chance to maybe try and go for the win if something crazy happens and we have a big wreck. You just never know. But eventually, he's going to have to give it up, because look at how close now the 35 is, and there it is. He backs out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good man right there for Michael Larch to be able to just jump to the top and be able to let him go. But now I'm sure that, Deegan Smith is hoping for the same exact, he's hoping for the same thing, honestly. That's what I was trying to get to, Joe. He's wanting the same thing, and it looks like he's going to end up getting that, as Larch is going to go right up to the top of the racetrack. Deegan's going to go by him. So Larch not out of the woods yet right here, folks. He's not out of the woods by a long shot. He's the only car 1 lap down. The rest of them are more laps down. So if we get a caution, as we see a lot of drivers back here, Mueller, he's going to send it into Calabro. Mueller, like I said, man on a mission, sends it by Calabro. Now Mueller up to 3rd place.
And Dillon looks like he's got a little bit of a loose car himself, as Weissman's going to easily overtake him. With that one, he'll be able to get back to the racing line. I don't know if Mueller has enough time. Look, we're less than 10 laps to go now.
Yeah, and if this would have been like a bigger track, like say Phoenix or hell even Rockingham for that point, he would probably be able to get it. I mean, he's already sent it. He just slapped the wall coming out turn four. He is driving the wheels off of that thing, trying to get it up here and have a shot at Tanner Burge. But I just don't believe he's going to be able to get there. Like I said, if it had been a bigger track, I think he'll be able to close in and be able to get there. But just with everything going and everything clicking off so fast, I don't think that he's going to be able to catch him.
Now, Deegan Smith might be able to catch him. Uh, the gap is 2/10, 3/10 between them, whereas Mueller has about 2.5 seconds to make up. If Deegan keeps putting the pressure on, are we going to see the bumper start to come out? Is he going to try and nudge him out of the way? It's, like we said, been definitely a bit messy at times out here. Is there one more sting in the tail?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, if he gets to him, yeah, I'm sure he may end up moving him up the track. I'm sure he's probably not going to dump him. But, I mean, that's short track racing, Joe. We've seen a lot of great short track racing, and usually it ends up with a bump and run to be able to get the win. It's all about who wants it more. And Deegan all over the back bumper, closed right into Tanner Burge. Well, he put the bumper to him right here. 3 laps to go. Deegan's going to send it in. Burge's going to slide way up the racetrack. Deegan trying to go down for the bottom and maybe go for the win.
Deegan's one of those that put new tires on. He's in the same position as Mueller and obviously has the speed to try and capitalize, but it's proving more difficult than he got. 2 laps to go. He's on the inside now. He has the advantage. Will Tanner Burge fight him for the rest of the way, or will he try for a cutback? He's going to try for the cutback, but I don't think it works. It was a little bit too late. White flag is out. Deegan Smith has taken this one right at the end, sending it too far. Tanner Burge starts to slide. 2 corners to go for the number 15. He started on the pole. He'll finish there. But boy, was it a journey to take this win.
Wow, Deegan Smith gets the win. Tanner Burge, I mean, he tried to get to him, Joe. He tried to get to him and try to move him up the racetrack. But I mean, like you said, the fresh tires for Deegan was able to pay off right there. Deegan Smith able to get the win here today at the Bullring. How about that?
That, wow. I did not expect that. I had missed the fact that he had taken tires until late there, and I looked over and wow, he has a time on pit lane. So he must have put on some rubber like many of the others did, and that paid all the difference. It took until the final lap or two, but you only have to lead that last one, and that's what he did as he'll take the win here today, parked on victory lane. Whew, goodness. uh, I'd say that felt very much like a bull ring today. We'll see if we get to talk to our winning matador who has slayed the beast in just a moment. Before that, I do believe we're going to take a very short break. We'll come back with the results and hopefully a chat with Deegan Smith.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Ever witnessed someone so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level? The mission of Advanced Motorsports is to demonstrate that speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. For those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsport Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10